In this part of Notability, I'm going to talk about how to annotate files. So using Notability, what we're going to do is to actually get a file that we can annotate, which are currently only PDF files. So I'm going to grab a PDF file from a teacher's Moodle course. So I have Moodle bookmarked and I've logged in. I'm going to go down to the middle school science department and we are going to look for Mr. Boyer's class, and we're going to find in Mr. Boyer's class he has exploration PDF. We're going to grab this file right here. So when we open up this file, we're getting a preview, and what I'll now do is to say open this in Notability. Now, when you open a PDF file, you always have some options here. I'm going to create a new note, but it's good to know that you could actually add this to another note. Possibly you're doing a 3-day lecture or series where you're studying something in particular and the students might want to continue adding. But we're going to create a new note, therefore starting at the first page. So the first thing I'm going to show you when this opens up are some basic features. If you look at the top, I think probably one of the most obvious is this yellow highlighter. Now if I click and hold, I have some options up here. I can change the color of the highlighter, and I can obviously change the thickness. So I can scroll through, and in Notability, to scroll down you always want to use 2 fingers. If I would use 1 finger with my highlighter selected, I would be highlighting, or if my pen was selected, I would obviously be drawing. So this is probably one of the simplest things, is the highlighter, and then also the pen. Again, if I click and hold, I can change the thickness of the pen, and I can change the color of the pen. Let's put something in green. And so I can just write wherever I'd like to write. So those are pretty obvious tools. We also have an eraser. If I take the eraser and just swipe, the whole E is gone. If I swipe the WR, notice the whole WR is gone. I didn't have to erase it completely. The scissors is also an eraser for objects that we add. And since we don't have any objects right now, that won't work, but I'll show you that feature a little bit later. So another thing that we can also do is, if I was writing something and let me take my pen and I make a mistake, I can click up here on this arrow to undo, and I can continue to undo several times, or whoops, I really wanted that W, so I can also redo. On the right side of the page, you will see that we have our pages. We can identify, this only has 1 page, I believe, this handout. Oh no, it has 2. Great. So what I can do is to navigate my pages by going through. And actually, I think one of the newer features is that I can delete a page. I can also change the order of the pages. So I have 2 pages and I can scroll back and forth with my navigation pages. Another feature which is very important is something called the palm rest. If you look down at the bottom right side, you see that there's a picture of a hand. Well, when I click on that hand and I use those, I'm using those lines to move it up, you see the partially grayed area. What happens now is, if I'm writing, I don't have to worry about my palm hitting the page and making marks. So it is a protection. It's something that is between me and the page, which is really helpful. I'm going to click on the lines next to where the palm is, and that will then go ahead and go down. Another really cool feature is called the zoom feature. Let's come down here in the middle of some text, and I'm going to click down on the bottom right where it looks like a magnifying glass. And what I'm going to do, this is called the zoom, I'm going to move this zoom down next to the word all. And I can change the size of my screen here by making it bigger or smaller. But right in this area, let's say that I want to write something. You know, unfortunately though, my fingers are just too fat, and to get something that small in there is going to be difficult to do. Well, with the zoom feature, I'm going to take my pen, let's change the color here, and I'm going to write big, but notice that it is fitting into that exact spot. So that is a really cool feature, that is the magnifying. Now another really cool thing on the left side is this plus. There are many features on the plus tools, and I'm just going to show you one, and in our third instructional video I'll demo those others. So the one that I'm going to show you now is called the text tool, and if I click on this, what's nice about it is I can type anywhere I'd like, and I can start typing whatever I want to type. And when I'm done, what I have now is an object. So I can move this object wherever I want within my document. Another thing I can do is I can click on paper and I can change the color of the paper, or I could put lines on the paper or make it a graph page paper as well. So the nice thing about that is it kind of looks like a little sticky note. Now you can always go in and change your font. If I would select all of my font here and I click, I can make it purple, I can make it a size 20, and I can change the font as well. Let's change that to Arial. So now when I click, I can see that those changes have been made. Again, I can scroll, move it around because it is an object. So those are some quick tools in our annotating of a PDF file. And now that that is done, if I would go back to my documents, I have that file down here. You notice it's called Notes Scientific Exploration. I can take this file now and I can drag it into my science folder. But first I'm going to open my folder and put it into my notes. And when I do that, I now have one note within my notes in my science. So if I click here, there it is, nice and organized. All right.